48. And so I thought I'd on and say, hey, guess what? After a week and a half of internet issues and having to rehang line and a lot of fixes in our little internet world. And I've been working in photo laundry, so I look like crap and I'm sweating. Wanted to pop on and say I'm back. Now, y'all know I've not been in the best health. As you can tell, my RSD has flared. Y'all see this? Now, I will cover that up later. My hope is to go live tonight, barring, knock on wood, my internet going back out. But it's been on now for about an hour, doing really well. Yesterday, they thought they had it fixed. As soon as they left, it went and I had to call tech support. I got somebody out first thing this morning. I did some troubleshooting, and I think now it's all resolved. We got some new line. We got a new juncture box or something. I don't know what that is. But it seems like my internet woes have been repaired. Hi, China. So I'm back on, and it took them, because I'm so rural and because I'm so far out there, and because I'm the only person on this road that has internet, it took them forever to get out here, get somebody out here to fix it and get it resolved. And they actually had to hang new fiber optic line. And I feel kind of bad because I'm the only person that has internet on this road, but it was also very nice of them to actually fix it for me. But I'm not going to complain because, as you all can tell, my RSD has been in flare. And I always try to come on here and be super honest with y'all. RSD was in full flare. That's why I was having the pancreas issues. And have had about a month solid of just roller coaster rides with my body, with my reflex sympathetic dystrophy, with my pancreatic issues, with my enzyme levels, with my ammonia levels that also do this when my pancreas fluctuates. And it's just been a really difficult month for me. And I've required a lot of rest. So I can't say that I'm completely upset by the lapse that I've had the last week and a half, because I really did need like time off and to rest and to not, sometimes even when I don't feel good, I make time to go live because I know you all kind of get a consistency, some kind of continuity from seeing me every night. And I appreciate that. And I kind of do the same with you all. But sometimes I push myself too hard, especially if I'm crafting or I need something to get done. I use you all as my motivation to get on here and get this stuff done and to move forward with whatever I've got kind of on my roster that needs to be done. And I honestly think that my body needed the rest that I've gotten with this time off. It's kind of freeing because I don't live where I have good cell reception. I don't have a lot of data on my phone, so I've not had a lot of time and ability to reach out to other people. So I've spent a lot of quiet time, reflecting time, watching old DVDs. When I've actually been able to have spots of internet, I've downloaded episodes off of Netflix and stuff that I wanted to watch so I could watch them offline. And I've just had some really quiet time. Hi, Gypsy. I've had some really quiet time the last week and a half, 2 weeks. And I think I needed it. And so I'm not going to, purely complain about it. I've been cooking up a storm this morning and crafting, and I'm sweaty, but I'm fixing to rest. But my hope is to be back tonight, barring my internet crapping out like it did yesterday after they left. But I think it's resolved this time. Hi, Clara. They were pretty sure that they had it all fixed this time. That was when they came to the door the last time. They were like, we think we've got it this time. And I was like, okay. And this is just what happens when you live super rural. You have one phone company that has a monopoly on everything. And they just take their sweet time fixing it. And lots of times, if it's a weird issue like we had here, it just takes a while. So, but I think we've got it fixed now. It's been on for about an hour with no problems. It's been off and on all morning as they fixed stuff and checked in. So I'm hoping that it's fixed now. So my hope is now, since I've got David to work and got his lunch and dinner and all that packed and him to work, and I'm currently letting my Grinch ornaments dry with the last layer of Mod Podge. We've had Dish. The thing with the satellite is that when we get certain weather patterns, or we get a lot of, I call it smoke on the mountain. It's when everything hangs and clusters around the top of the plateau. It breaks up our feed. And so the satellite was not consistent. We couldn't always, like during the worst weather when we needed it, was when it would not work. And so we gave up on satellite. It just is not a good fit for us here. And it's super expensive. And it's just a pain in the butt. So this is kind of what we have at the moment. And I think we're going to go to a business account in January since David is growing. And so I think that will probably help us with our upload speed and especially with the quality of my videos and my lives. That will help a lot. So I hope that that works. David requiring it for Etsy and for doing his advertising online and stuff, he needs it. So we're going to justify the transition that way, I guess. But for the last week or so, I've just still been making gnomes, making Christmas stuff. I've done a few projects for myself, like my lampshades that I did. But mostly I've just been resting because, as you all can see, I've been in big old flare mode. So I was trying to, satellite here is just a crapshoot. It really is. Like my parents down in the valley have satellite and it works well for them. Well, my family down there, they have like the cattle farm has satellite and it works well for them. But up here where the weather hangs around the mountain, it just, it's horrible. Martin, I was actually just in her comment section. I followed her since she made the transition, and I don't always agree with her, and I don't always, like, I don't always see eye to eye with her, but I like to listen to her feedback because it gives you different perspectives from different sides of things. And so you kind of get a lot, the bang for your buck because you're listening to her, who says she used to be leftist, is now more conservative, though she's not right. But it kind of makes you think. And so I didn't mind watching her at all. And sometimes it would make me understand certain vantage points and perspectives. So it was in the video where the guy her friend that does the camera videos, I don't even know his name. I didn't know it was her friend until after I commented the first couple of times, was at that, the representative that had the funny name, I think it was Ohio. Anyway, there was a tussle outside before he went in for his rally. And he said he was assaulted, which I think he thought he was assaulted. I just don't think that because the tussle was so big, I don't think they know who did it. But she immediately got on and was like, this man ruined a good man. And I was sitting there going, okay, I think it was tacky for the politician to get up there and assign blame before to go to court, because obviously it was a tussle that had a lot of people in it. But the fact that she was stating that the politician was actually assaulting people, I was like, no. So it was one of those things where nobody on viewing the video could tell what happened, but it was such a big event with so many people that even the people that were in on it, that were caught up in the tussle, couldn't have told you what exactly happened. But whatever did happen made the cops spring into action because they saw something that made them think that something was going down. And so I said, hey, you might want to look at this, with a few vantage points. Obviously, he got bum rushed. He felt like his life was in danger. He responded with a defensive mode. Obviously, he thought he was in danger. If he thinks he was assaulted, it's his right to believe that. If he felt that he was hit, struck, pushed, and it was an assault, that's fine. But she was immediately, because the politician was like, and I think it was this guy that did it. And I can see from his eye how he would think that was the man that hit him if he was struck, which I think he probably was. I think if it goes to court, it'd be one of those, it was a tussle, it involved a lot of people, a lot of hands, a lot of energy, a lot of bodies, and it'd be like, it's a moot point. We can't see who did what, but we don't think anything was, malevolent or malicious, so out it goes. But she got really upset about this and immediately went on the offensive and it started attacking the politician and saying that he was actually the one that assaulted. He reached out. Well, yeah, he reached out and grabbed the people next to him when he got hurt and tousled. And that's a defense mechanism. And I do that also. And matter of fact, when I went through training with the police academy, you kind of want to grab onto whoever is causing you problems, because the farther away, the more muscle mass you get at the extension of the arms and stuff, you kind of want to grab them and bring them in and pin them until somebody can help you. And so I thought, well, that's a normal response. It's not like he was being vindictive. It's just grab and hold and clutch until somebody can separate the bodies and see what's going on. But she just immediately started going crazy. And I was like, there's no need for this. There's, you don't, just because you have a friend in the mix doesn't mean that you should become hyper emotional, hyper fixated on then ruining someone else because you think they're ruining. It's just two wrongs don't make a right. And just kind of move back and say, there's a lot going on here, and it's going to have to go to court if they deem that they're going to press charges. and then we'll see what all witness statements say and what the cops say, and they'll figure it out. But for her to just like run and start this dogging, it was like, I was concerned because here she says, I'm more of a conservative now. I'm more of a centrist, more of a libertarian. But the moment things don't go her way, she immediately employs leftist tactics again. And I'm like, if you really had taken a view of what you were doing, of what the left was doing that made you uncomfortable when you saw the other side of things and felt accepted, would you really employ those tactics and habits again if they were really unbecoming and you saw what was wrong with that behavior? Would you really employ that again? And if if that's still her comfort zone, if that's still where she goes when she gets upset, has she made the changes internally that she thinks she's made? And is she holding herself accountable for the things that she holds others accountable for? And that's kind of just what I was kind of like, it's time for some self-analysis and reflection, because we're seeing a lot of inconsistent behavior from you, and that's difficult when you're trying to pull in this people for ad revenue and money and finances, and to build you up and to get your views. You're saying you're this and you're acting like this here, but when you get into the middle of things, you immediately go back to that comfort zone, which is not what you state you're doing now. And I don't think she understands that she does that. I think she's so busy looking at others that she doesn't look at herself. And I'm one of those people, like, I'm going to look at me first because I'm the only person I can change. So I'm going to put my energy here first because that's exactly where I know it's going to do the most work. And then I hope that whatever you see me work on, that you go, oh, I can work on that too. And you take it and work on it in your life. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you need to work on and not work on it myself. That's like, that's like being, an advertising manager for a dairy farm and being lactose intolerant. There's, you got to be all in or you're not getting the whole view. And I don't think she's getting the whole view. And I don't think she's aware of what she's doing. And I don't think she's aware that she's slipping back into old habits. Well, thank you, Martin. I appreciate you asking. And if you ever have like questions you don't want to ask online, you can email me at watersworkload@gmail.com. The reason it means so much to me is that I'm a retired parole officer. I have my master's in psychology, and I mostly worked in forensic psychology, though I've done counseling. And I did CBT for like murderers and violent offenders. And so I look a lot at personality, ideologies, belief statements, and motivation, and then actions. And that's kind of what, because that's what I looked at when I was supervising people. That's the key indicators of what I was going to have to deal with were those things and how they aligned. And so when I heard her, talk about her education at the get-go, I thought, okay, this is going to be a woman that's going to take a step back and give us a very wide, all-encompassing, level-headed view. And that's one thing I've never gotten from her. And that bothers me coming from the field and education background that I come from, because as an educated group, we should be the people that should understand how important that is right off the bat. And that should be something that we should role model immediately, like without being prodded. And you should never turn to certain behaviors. If you put yourself on a pedestal and say, I am now a spokesperson for this, I'm going to go out and speak publicly on this, and I'm going to be a public figure about this, then you have to hold yourself in a different status. You have to look at yourself. A sociopath, normally someone that starts out with a lot of antisocial behavior, personality, kind of got a checklist and they've got several of them. It doesn't always mean if they have those antisocial behavior issues that they're going to be a sociopath, but it just means that they have a difficult time understanding society, this kind of social contract we all sign to live in this shared reality, and that they don't always align to it or behave in a way that aligns to it. And I don't think that really she's a sociopath or a psychopath. That's one of those. Those are also kind of cluster issues. I believe what she is someone that is kind of, she's a ship without a rudder right now, and so she doesn't have a lot of direction, and she's obviously kind of searching, and she doesn't have a lot of direction, but she also doesn't have a safe place to go and drop her anchor and just be. And so she feels very kind of left out of things a lot because she doesn't have a place to belong per se, which I would like to say is a lot of her own problems because she creates issues that forcefully push people away. Martin, yeah, yeah. We're handling at this age. She's handling a very juvenile behavioral conglomerate of issues and not handling them well, and not using what I would think would be a wealth of knowledge in her education to seat herself more positively in this little political world she apparently desires to be in, and to address it appropriately. So yeah, she has some very juvenile responses to things, and like I was trying to be respectful and not be hurtful, but be very honest, and she was like, "You're a troubleshoot," and I'm like, I mean, I really don't belong anywhere. I just kind of float. My friends list is like, it's like a patchwork quilt. And I don't really, I think all politicians are crooked as dogs' hind legs. I don't, by the time they get to that level of power, they've all done something that we should be concerned about. And it's just, when she attacked me like that, I was like, whoa, I expected more grace because of her education and knowing what she should know and how to effectively apply it. And I expected a conversation, a dialogue. I did not expect to be attacked. And I specifically didn't expect for her to attack me in a way that the party that she swears she's left attacks. And I pointed that out to her, and I was like, you're still using some tactics that align with, this old party that you state you don't want to belong to and you don't want to be like, but you're still behaving in certain ways, and we find that inconsistent. And if you're looking for a central audience, then consistency is a key component to bring us back. And so I thought she would use what I was saying constructively to say, okay, I may need to think about this. And then she was like, "You're whining." And I have a no whining policy. And I'm like, okay, a different perspective is not whining. I'm trying to have a dialogue, a conversation. But if you look on all of her comment sections, which I did after that, I went back and looked, she never has communication. She will have combative altercations of a few sentences, but she will never truly have a communication dialogue. And she likes to, when you're on YouTube and you have a power hierarchy, I'm sorry, I twang, power hierarchy, I twang, and you're on a platform where you have hundreds of thousands of subs and people look to you as a leading guidepost, and you have that power, that momentum. I don't think you should use that in childish juvenile ways. I don't think you should use that for a personal vendetta or for a personal friendship. I mean, what is she, like 35? Ma'am, you're 35. Your 35-year-old friend can take care of his own crap. You don't need to go on a public platform that pays your bills to where you should be a professional and turn into this, "Nuh-uh, you pushed my friend first," and it was just, I thought it was childish and not necessary, because that power she has on this platform can be used in very negative ways. Hi, Priscilla. And so when she used it in a negative way, I was like, number one, she doesn't respect the platform. She doesn't respect the people that view her, that come back and repeatedly view her, that give her revenue, that keep her, they keep her employed per se, and they keep her in the limelight. You have to respect those people that give you this platform. And for her to come on and, number one, be disrespectful to people that are trying to have a nice dialogue, but then as I look at the comment section to see that she never promotes dialogue or communication or conversations, it's always like an attack. It's like in the hallway at high school, and it's like, no, you should be able to accept all different kinds of views, compost them, and respond respectfully no matter who is coming after you. And if you can't do that, then just say, I'm sorry, I don't feel this is going to be a positive interaction and I'm going to refrain from speaking. You certainly don't have to become, a 12-year-old. But as much as you study human behavior and narcissism and power dynamics and how people use like emotional hostage taking and they use the momentum of the world to really hurt people, I did not anticipate to see her behave in such a way that would go against the education that she should have. I know, China, like, I think I have to all the time remind myself, like, I have high expectations of myself. And so I would like to think that the rest of the world has high expectations of themselves, but they don't always. And sometimes that is the worst thing that I have to realize every day, is that people do not hold themselves to the levels of accountability that everyone else does. And sometimes we just have to go, that is not going to be a positive person that I can interact with. And I'm just going to have to let that one go, which is what I've done. Now, she kept saying she was going to ban me. I told her it wasn't necessary. If she was not going to have a dialogue and she was going to attack me this way, I certainly wasn't coming back. So I haven't been back since then. I haven't responded or watched any of her videos. The only thing I did was scan the comment section to see if this was consistent behavior, and sadly it was. She is she's very much like a Rottweiler on a chain in her comment section, and she does not really respect anyone in her comment section unless they mimic, repeat, or flood her with like love and just idolize her. And I find that distasteful, especially if she says she's trying to create conversations to expose this political farce that no, you're not, because there's no communication. There's no communication. Rachel, this is from where Carlin Borsenko called me a tribalist shill, and I did the video about it. Apparently something has happened the last couple of days where there's been a lot of views on that video, and I've been getting a lot of feedback on mine as well. And I don't know if somebody just noticed what was going on in the comment section or noticed people talking about my video, but I'm getting a lot of feedback the last couple of days about that video. But I was disappointed in her. Number one, because she has an education where she should know how to behave better and understand that her behavior affects others, and that type of behavior specifically is combative and not necessary, especially if she's trying to make a better world with what she's trying to share. And so, it just, if it's a catch-22, if I'm watching someone on YouTube, I don't like kiss your butt curves. So I don't like to be going this way one day and whoop, that way. No, consistency. So yeah, that's come back up, and there's been a lot of views, and I've been getting a lot of feedback and a lot of messages and emails about that. So, but she absolutely did this overlord of, how dare you challenge me? I'm not going to speak with you. I am the all-powerful Oz. And you are just a tribalist shill, and you're whining. How dare you come to my page and whine? And I'm like, I tried to do a very well thought out comment to spark engagement. And I learned really quickly that's not what she wants. And so I was like, peace. And I'm certainly not going to stay where I'm not wanted, but I was very disappointed, because if people with that level of education and that has gone through something so profoundly life-changing, if they can't sit down and form words to talk to you about it and to sway you to also take a look at it from all the things that has just enlightened their whole realm the last few years, then what are we doing? And why does she think her channel should have hundreds of thousands of followers? Are they just supposed to come there and go, we bow down to you and we do whatever you say? Well, isn't that what you just said you left? But you're recreating it here. And when we say, Carlin, that was not nice, or that's not necessary, maybe you need to look at it this way and see the other people's perspective. Just because you have a friend in the mix shouldn't change the way that you view this altercation. Yeah. Okay, Martin, I appreciate you stopping and asking questions. Yeah, I think it's a conversation we need to have about a lot of our political analysts. I don't think sometimes the analysis that they provide is as unfettered from human emotion as they think it is. And especially if they act like a 3-year-old when you ask that, it's probably a good indication it's not. So I've missed a lot the last couple of weeks when my internet bombed. We had the fiber optic go down. We had a junction box get unconnected, and they had to rerun line. It's been a couple of weeks, but I also had the RSD flare. My body crapped out. I went in basically like an MS flare. They're the same thing as an MS flare. So I've been resting a lot, not able to do as much. But I have been crafting. I have been finishing up the gnomes for David's vendor sale in December. I just, the little energy I've had, I've put into my crafting and sleeping. And I've just had to be careful where I put my energy. Hi, Stephanie. And so I've chosen to put my energy into things that make me smile and getting my body back on. So I didn't refresh any makeup or anything because I wanted you to see. Y'all can tell I've had an RSD flare. And so I'm very broke out. I get these big like ulcer sores, and it's because the enzyme levels in my digestive tract, because my digestive tract and my pancreas and my bowels are affected by my reflex sympathetic dystrophy. It's a neuromuscular disorder that sends the wrong nerve impulses to your body into organs, and it causes them to mess up. And so my bowels and my pancreas will get the wrong nerve impulses and it won't work right. And I'm lucky I didn't have to go into the hospital with this episode. I got very lucky, but it was a very long, drawn out episode. And so it's taken me a long time to get over it. I just stayed right on, perched on, just waiting to have to go to the hospital, but I made it through. So it's going to take my face a few more weeks probably to heal, because this was a very long attack. And so my enzymes and acid levels and ammonia levels were all over the place. Rachel, thank you. Anybody that messaged, sent prayers, sent me again, I appreciate it. I needed every one of them. I mean, it was a rough spat. I had to go and do blood, just every little whip stitch so they could follow my enzyme levels. And there were a few days that we thought we were going to have to go into the hospital, but I made it through. And I'm just happy that I've made it. And tomorrow's Thanksgiving. I'm feeling better. I think I'm going to be able to go to Thanksgiving dinner. As soon as I felt better, I didn't get to see Miss Ellie, my grandbaby, for 2 weeks. And as soon as I felt better, the kids brought her over, and I got to just hold her for like an hour and a half, and just, she's grown so much in 2 weeks, and I'm trying to get caught back up on life. I'm still having a lot of swelling and a lot of fluid ups and downs, and my lymph system is still draining really sluggishly, and that's just normal after an attack. So it's going to take me a little while to get back into the swing of things. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate it. Y'all are really and when I've been able, I've tried to tag or send you a picture or something, but last night was my first really good night of crafting. Kim came out and did all my fabric cutting because my hands were still super uncoordinated. And she brought me these huge pine cones, and I was going to make a hedgehog. And then she looked at me and she goes, "That looks like a possum." Being the rednecks that we are, we just made a possum ornament. And I put wire through the tail so you can curlicue the tail and hang it on your Christmas tree. It's adorable. It's actually on my Christmas tree right now. I put a post in the community page if you want to see it. I made myself one and her one, and I've got a few pine cones left. I think I'm going to offer, like, for local people, if they want one, just make them for $10, and whoever wants to come grab it can grab it. I thought they were cute. I think they're absolutely podunk, perfect. So I made a lot of, I used some of the pine cones as the hats, and then put a fur beard, and then I turned them and used the pine cone as the beard and put a hat. We had a lot of fun with those pine cones. It was really good. I've got some smaller ones. I'm going to make some smaller ornaments, and I probably, with the Etsy orders that David gets, throw those in as gifts. That's normally what I do. So I've got some smaller pine cones that I really wouldn't charge anyone for if I made something. And I was just going to make a few, give some to the kids, and I'm going to set the rest aside. And when David gets his orders between now and Christmas, I'm just going to throw a little ornament in there as a thank you. But I've been doing his Grinch ornaments. These are just wood rounds. and I drilled a hole and I Mod Podge sealed it, and then I Grinch green painted it. That is actually color. And then I put my vinyl decal face on because my hands shake too much to draw this good anymore. So that's a vinyl decal. And then I've Mod Podged over the vinyl decal just to help hold it on. And I've got ribbons and stuff to add on. I'm going to be doing that tonight. And I also found these little antlers, but they only go one way. These little antlers at the Dollar General the other day. And I thought, oh, I could put that on there like this and do a big bow around it. And it's kind of like the one antler that Max had on his head. And so I can put these on there and charge a little bit more for these. And then the others, you know, without it, just charge. But on the back, they're going to say, I've got one done if I can find it. On the back, they're going to say Grinch, or they're going to say Stink, Stank, Stunk, or Mean One, or Merry Grinchmas. So I got decals to go on the backs as well. So I think these are really cute. They're rustic. I sanded them, but not too awful much. I wanted them to be rustic and have the feel of, you know, a real fresh cut wood round. And so I've got a dozen of these. They've got to go to the vendor sale because the Grinch Christmas sale, every vendor has to bring at least a dozen items that go with the theme. So this is going to be David's dozen items that go with the theme. I'm also Mod Podging hymnal rounds onto some. I've got to hit these with a sander, and then I'm going to put either a greenery pick or a flower or a bow on top of these and hang them. I might get some pebbles out of the yard and like put a little stick here and put a couple of little pebbles and draw little beaks on them and put little birds on a little limb and do stuff like that. So I'm just having fun. Since I'm feeling better, I'm just having fun doing some stuff and getting some other stuff made. But I'm really tickled. Let me see if I can get him off of here without pulling my whole tree down. Probably not. Let me just grab this real quick. I was really tickled with how the pine cones came out, the ones that I'm using for the beards. So he's got a little slouchy hat. He just hangs from your tree. We'll use the pine cone as the beard. Now, I used other ones that are on the other side of the tree, and I turn them upside down and use this as the hat and put a fur beard down here. But I thought these turned out really cute. You know, they're not gaudy, but they're definitely a statement ornament piece. But I really think this is a wire tail, so you can bend it and change it. But I really think that my possum, which has still got glue hanging all over it, was the cutest thing. Look, he's even got little legs. So when he hangs, he's got little feet. I thought about putting a little pouch, putting a little baby possum hanging out, but I was like, okay, Elizabeth, you take it to an unhealthy level. But this is my possum. And I made Kim one that was even cuter. This was the prototype. So Kim's was much cuter. But now that I know how to do it, and I gave him a real nose. So now that I know how to do it, I'm going to make a few. I know, Kim totally was like, Elizabeth, that's a possum. And I was like, it is. So we made her possum. And I've got this thing, and you can make his tail as, you know, however you want to. And I gave hers a longer tail. So hers has a little bit more play in it. But I think these were really cute, and I think a lot of people around here would really like these. So I'm going to offer some for sale locally for just $10 or whoever wants them. I've got her husband's going to bring me in some more of these pine cones, and I'm going to make them and offer them for sale after Thanksgiving. I've got some smaller ones back here that I'll make and might throw in the Etsy orders as a thank you. But it's felt, googly eyes. I did put a nice nose on it, and pom-poms and wire. I mean, that's just like, it was the easiest little thing. Oh, it's so cute. Music, yeah. Normally, if they say active investigation, it's kind of to allow them to shut their mouth, remain quiet, hold on to evidence before they dispense it, and to give them some time to, cross their T's and dot their I's, and to not have to deal with the bombardment that sometimes they deal with. I saw that phrase used in so many ways by law enforcement, by the court system, by attorneys, by everyone. And it is true. If there's certain active things still going on, there's certain things that they can't offer up, explain, give away, and so they use it kind of as a safety to buy them time and to give them a little bit of a breather. So Yeah, people use that in lots of ways. So I made the badger. I did make the badger reindeer. I had enough for a big one. And the fur is so pretty, and it's so, because we don't have badgers in this area, but that one came from North Dakota. So he's got a $40 price tag on him. I had the little one, and as soon as Kim saw it, she went and got her pocketbook and bought it. And I was like, okay. I've been making wire hat gnomes with wires in the hat so people can switch and giving them really tall hats so people can move and make their hats look silly and do silly things. I had some yak beard in some of those bags from North Dakota, and I was able to make a couple of big yak beard Santas. One of those is already sold, and one small yak beard Santa. They're very pretty. I'll try to show those to you this evening. I'll show you the big ones. But yeah, I've been doing quite a bit. I've got about 20 more pieces of wood cut for gnomes, and then I'm done. And about 6 to 8 of those 20 will be reindeer. The lady was able to fill my 8 antler request order, so I got 8 antlers. So hi Denise. So we got music and everyone here. So I was able to get the other 8 antlers, so I'm going to be making some more reindeer. And then for local sales, for the vendor sale, David has cut me some dry chunks. They look like big things of firewood, but they're dry and they're taller. And I've got a coyote pelt that I'm hooking the coyote with the tail attached, hooking it to it so it's looks like it's on its butt, and its tail's going to be at the floor beside it. And it'll go up, and then I'm going to either make a face on the piece of wood with ears, or I'm going to get a styrofoam face, or I'll sculpt one. It just depends on what I'm feeling the day. And give it as much fur on the face as I can, but make a coyote face, nose, ears, so it looks like a little coyote, and it's made out of that tree, that wood stump. And then I've got one that I'm going to make. It's taller, and I'm drilling holes in the side, and I'm putting real deer antlers into the sides. And I'm wrapping it in one of David's really plush beaver furs. And it is going to look like a big reindeer with real antlers. And that's going to be like a $50 item. And I'm going to try to make 2 of them to take to his vendor sale in December, because I think that they'll sell really good. I'm going to try to make me one to keep, but that's sometimes when I make stuff and people will go crazy on them, it's hard for me to keep anything. But that's what he's working on, because he's got 4 days off this weekend. We don't ever have that many days off in a row. And he's had to take all his vacation time, so he's had some Fridays off, because if he doesn't take his vacation time, then after the end of the year, they take it back from him. And he doesn't get the money cashed out or nothing. They just take it back. So he's been taking vacation time. And so I've had him home a little bit, and it's been nice. And he's gotten caught up in some. Oh, he went hunting this morning and got a little button buck. And so he was processing a deer at 8 o'clock this morning. He's got the other deer hide, the one that Lane got in archery season. He's got it tanned. It's up for sale. It's a whole back it's a whole back hide of a deer for $75 plus shipping. It is soft as butter. It just rolls up in your hands. He did such a phenomenal job on that. And we got his garment quality beaver and raccoons back from the big tanning operation in Oklahoma that has been helping David learn a whole lot more. But he got flooded with beaver and raccoon last year when he trapped, and he knew that was what was going to take him the most time, because those are the ones you really have to spend time on. So we opted to send a bulk of them out so that he would not be overwhelmed with tanning this year. And so we decided to pay the money and just get those done garment quality, so that when people contacted us and wanted beaver hides for blankets or vests, or we would be like, yes, we have them. So we got those back. It's like a $600 fur order with the tanning. And so it was a big box. So we got those back. So we now have garment quality beaver hides. Oh my God, they're so nice. I mean, David's hides are nice too, just from the hand tan Appalachia pickle method. They're really nice, but these are just, you already just want to turn them into like blankets and coats and just snuggle in. They're just so soft and warm and lush, and they're beautiful. So he's going to have some garment quality hides for sale as well this year. And, as opposed to just his display or decor craft, stuff, he's going to have garment quality hides. So that's exciting. So we've had a lot happen in the last little bit. And I've just been, I didn't think it was going to take him almost 2 weeks to fix this internet issue. But it all started when there was a water main break about 1.5 miles up the road. This is how podunk I am. About a mile and a half up the road at a Wesleyan group camp. It leaned and pulled one pole all the way over, and 3 or 4 poles it pulled. But what it did was that fiber optic line that feeds into my main road, the secondary road, and then my tertiary road, apparently it was the one that gave, and it ruined the juncture box and the line from where that pole was down all the way through 2 roads all the way up to me. Everybody else had internet, though. When it got to my road in that last juncture box, it completely tore apart. And so it was hanging by a thread, and that's why I was having no upload. I could download, but I couldn't upload. I was limited in what I could do, and if the wind was blowing, there was hours or more that it would go out. I didn't know what was going on. I finally called tech support. It took them 2 days to get somebody out here to check it, and then they said, oh, it's been pulled apart. It was hanging by a thread. They tried to do a patch repair. It held for like 2 days and then went back out. They came back, tore it down, took it apart. When they got the new pole set up there, they restrung all of that from that pole that went down through 3 roads to me. They restrung all of it. And of course, I was the last fix because I was at the dead end of the road. So they thought they had it yesterday. They got it strung yesterday and hooked up. I think they just did something wrong yesterday, because about an hour after they left, it went, it was gone. I was like, crap. Because Kim and I were going to go live when we were crafting last night. And they were back at 7:30 this morning, and knock on wood, we've got her fixed now. So I should not have any internet woes unless we have an ice storm, snowstorm, or something big in the foreseeable future, because they have really dropped some money on my area with the fiber optic in the last little bit. So, but it just takes that long when you live out in podunk. Yeah, that hide is really, I mean, it was beautiful. That deer hide was gorgeous. It's got such nice hair. The consistency in it and the color is so nice. But I need to take a picture of the other side. It's just white. It's so pretty. He did such a good job. He brought it in and was just beaming because he did such a good job on that one. And some hides are just notoriously hard, considering on the life that the animal led, the cell structure, if the skin quality, a lot of things play into that. But this one just worked out so nice. And David was so proud of that. It was really pretty. It's very pretty. He's learned a lot. The people from Oklahoma and their friend from North Dakota have really been giving him a lot of insight and little detail-oriented, like finishing touches that it's really helping the quality of what he's doing. So we're just tickled. Yeah, we have some deer that they've lived on the crag of the mountain so long that they're all shoulders and no back end, where they're going up or down a hillside all their life. So they're really big shouldered deer, but they have like no back end because all the muscles in the front end. And they're all beat up where they fought, and they've got big gouges and scar tissue, and where they've been shot and run off. And and I mean, he got a buck one year, and when we skinned it, we found he had to he shot it, and the darn thing charged him. So he shot it a total of 5 times as it was charging him, because he was just like freaking out. And that was like the first time he had one that close come after him, like with death in its eyes. It was charging him, and he was like, I'm gonna keep shooting you till you go down. We were skinning it out. So he shot it 5 times. We were skinning it out, found a musket ball in its hip where it had been shot during a muzzleloader season, probably in the last few years. And then we were sawing the skull cap off for the antlers. I know, graphic, it's life. There was a 22 bullet wedged in its cranium. Obviously, a stupid poacher had probably tried to poach it at one point in its life. And we named that deer Lucky because it had been shot 7 times before it gave up the ghost. So, blacktail are not supposed to be here, but I will tell you what's happened is we have a lot of deer farms in the area that they're exotics, so they provide some. It was mostly for hunting lodges, so they will breed and raise the exotics for hunting lodges and private buyers that just want them on the property. Well, a lot of these, like fallow deer, axis deer, and even blacktail, get loose and they'll breed in. So for a few years, we'll see a heavy genetic curve, and then they'll breed out. But we do have in certain areas, we have like little clusters of blacktails from where they've gotten out of these farms, these deer farms, and they shouldn't be here at all. But we're seeing little clusters of them now. And my father-in-law ran up on one last year deer hunting, and he was like, it didn't look like a deer, not a deer that I was expecting to see, but it was a deer. He said, but I thought, I shoot it, but what if it's one I'm not supposed to shoot? Because he's an old, he was like, I didn't know what to do. He said, so I let it go. And it was a blacktail. He had run up on a blacktail. Yeah, we've got some cantankerous old deer here from where they live on the crag of the mountain, and they live a rough life. They don't always get the best forage options because of just the weather and the landscape here. Somebody posted a meme the other day. Okay, Denise. Somebody posted a meme the other day, and I laughed at it. And it had a farm hunter that was like, quality matching camo, and like rich boy, and it was like, farm hunting. I saw $5 this morning, and then down below it said mountain hunter, and it was like this guy that was like stressed and worn and leathery, and his hair was gray. He looked like a caveman. He was like, I saw a buck 3 years ago back in muzzleloader season. And I thought that is the most accurate meme I've ever seen, because poor David here, he's been hunting 2 weeks hot and heavy to get us at least one deer in the freezer, and we finally got one this morning. Lane got one in archery season though, but he'd been hunting for 3 weeks hot and heavy, sees them daily on his trail cams, goes out there, and it's just hard, to hunt them down on these crags and these mountains. And he worked his butt off for 3 weeks to get that one little button buck for us, which, hey, food's food, as long as it eats, that's fine. But then all his friends, they're going on these paid hunts or have these farms where they pay these enormous fees to join the hunt club and the farm, and they've already harvested 4 or 5, between 2 seasons. And it's like, David's like, I hate them all. And he's like, they think they're hunting. He's like, they're going where people feed them all year long, put food plots out all year long. He's like, bait them up all year long. And he said they've got 3 times the population. And he said, they spend $1,000 a person to hunt on that. And it's great if you've got the money, but then they go out and they think they're hunting like natural wild game. And I'm like, no. They normally aren't that well fed, that fat, have 140 and above antler scores, and, mill around a dozen on the edge of the field while you wait for the one you want to come out. It's like, if you see food running in the woods here, you better shoot it, because you may not see another one for 2 months. And, even as great woodsmen as my husband and my son are, these deer here are wild, and they're mountain bred, and they live in the hidey holes in the crags, and they're very terrified of humans, and they don't grow up with food plots. They don't grow up with, people that have feeders that shuck out corn all year long for them. They don't grow up, with people throwing this deer cocaine stuff out and that makes them come up and snort and paw. They don't know this. They're just wild animals. And it's so funny, because I've got a friend in Texas that hunts on these farms, and he's like, I tagged out this year. And I'm like, well, that's great. I was like, but you also, pay several $100s, per farm that you hunt. And all they do is cultivate those deer for you. Here, nobody's cultivating the deer. They're just lucky to live, lucky to survive, lucky to have ate food this year and matured. And we'll be lucky if we get to put them in the freezer. And that's just, but it was so funny, because David sits and watches those. And I sent him that meme, and he was like, that's it. That's exactly how I feel. And I was like, I know. So now David and Elaine, David was younger and covered more ground, and Lane was just getting, really hot and heavy hunting, and was getting to where he could be the equivalent of another adult, out hunting. They tagged out several years in a row, and Lane would, after we would put 3 or 4 up, and Lane would finish tagging out, and if we didn't need them, he would donate them to the processing place, and then a senior family would pay for the meat. And so he donated a lot of his deer so that senior families could have food to eat. And they would always ask for Lane's deer, because they knew he was an eagle eye shot, and he only shot him once. It was so great. People be like, they put their name on the list of wanting deer meat, and they put in parentheses, from that Waters kid. It was so cute. So that was funny. But yeah, it's much harder to harvest deer in areas like mine, and we don't have a lot of bottom soil. We don't have a lot of flat land. We don't have a lot of prime habitat. We have a lot of crag living billy goat hybrid deer. And you've got to be half billy goat to get out to them to find them. So a lot of people don't understand that. So, well, I'm fixing to eat me some lunch, and then I'm going to rest for a little while. And then when I get up and craft later, I will go live. But I need a break, and I need rest, and I need food. And I've got to also make a cake tonight. So I'm going to rest for a little while, and then I'm going to get busy on my other stuff. You all make sure you come back and see me tonight, though. And it'll probably be later, probably be 8 or so. But we'll do a few things, finish up a couple of things, and catch up. And try to get back on schedule now that I'm feeling a little bit better. Like, I'm already tired from this, but it's good tired. I'm happy to be tired again. So I'll see you tonight. I'm going to go eat. Well, Rachel, you have a good night at work, and have a good turkey day. If I don't see all yins again, have a good Thanksgiving. Spend it with people you love. And I should be back off and on this weekend, because I'm going to be putting up some Christmas stuff, going through Christmas stuff for Haley, and finishing up some crafts that David, while he's at home, he's going to help me get the bigger stuff done. So we will definitely be on quite a bit this weekend and try to make up for the lost time while the internet was being repaired and the lines were being replaced. Crag living on the mountain, you gotta love it. Unexpected. Oh, China, you take care. And Denise, Gypsy, Music, everybody. Everybody's in here. Y'all take care. If I don't see you before you eat your turkey, toss up some good vibes. Hug your family's neck. Don't have political discussions. And try to make everything a positive experience tomorrow. Hold them as precious, because a few years ago we wasn't supposed to be having family dinners and stuff. Remember that family is what it's all about, and generating those memories and those magical moments that your kids and you get to hang on to in your mind. Make sure that you try to capture a couple of those tomorrow when you're with your family. And we'll get back to this tonight, and then over the weekend we'll get caught up. I've got a lot of stuff that David's done that I've got to download and edit. I will get caught back up. I'm going to go eat my lunch. I love yous. Y'all have a good day. If I don't see you tomorrow, enjoy it. And take some pictures, and then you can email and share your turkey day with me. Also, if you haven't seen yet, go to my page and look at the video that Lane took for y'all this morning. He was taking down a big white pine and decided he would take a video to show you just what his job consists of. So if you've never seen a tree being taken down from an arborist perspective, go take a gander. Mama anxiety, 11 out of 10, but you know something? My boy's talented, and I'm proud of him. So go take a gander at that, watch that video, and tell him in the comments you want him to start a channel. The boy needs to start a channel. He has a very interesting life. But give us some feedback on that. I'll see most of you tonight. If not, I'll catch you in the weekend. Y'all have a great turkey day. I love you. I'm so glad to be back. I've missed you, but I still need to rest. So I'm going to go eat and rest. Bye, guys. Oscar, you coming? You heard me say bye. You think you're getting a treat or something, don't you?